Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We are live here at SIEGE2017. I'm Regina Miller. I am co-founder of ZapMill, and you're a part of the Stream Team Reporting Group. We have been doing interviews, sessions, and featuring some of our great speakers that are here at SIEGECon. And I know all of you are looking forward to what is our next interview. Well, I have someone very special here to introduce. Leigh Ann Kinnison is here, and I'm going to let her introduce what her role is and where she's at. So, Leigh Ann, welcome.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
Glad to see you.
So I'm actually the senior game producer at Ideas United here in Atlanta. And we are a company who has recently teamed up with Google Play to sponsor a contest called Infinite Deviation Games. And we're going to be trying to bring some new voices into the industry. We're hoping to get some people who typically have not been represented. So we're talking about a lot of women and people of color, LGBTQ people, people with disabilities. So folks who maybe haven't had an opportunity to see characters like themselves in games, or maybe they just haven't really been able to tell their stories.
Right.
So we're trying to give an opportunity for some new upcoming emerging developers to get out there and make some games with funding from Google Play, as well as a little marketing love next year. So it's really exciting. It's a great project.
So can you actually tell us a little bit more about if people are interested in the contest? Where do they need to go? What do they need to do?
I would love to. So our website is infinitedeviation.com/games. And you can enter there. It is a very simple form. You just give us your game proposal. You do not have to have any sort of playable demo. You don't really have to have very much yet. You don't have to have a lot of experience. In fact, you are required to have less than 2 years of industry experience. And that's just because, like I said, we're trying to get some new voices and people who haven't had a chance. So this is kind of their opportunity to get their foot in the door.
I love that. I love that. And I love that, you obviously have brought up some great, points about representation in the industry. Obviously, there's a lot more women and diversity that are starting to come into the industry that maybe we haven't seen as much. It's not the typical stereotype anymore of who a gamer is and who a game developer is, or those in the industry. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, actually, it's really funny to me because as a kid, I grew up in the 80s, and my role model was Roberta Williams. And so there were women in the industry, back in the day. There are actually quite a few, and Sierra did a great job of hiring a bunch because I know they also had Lori and Corey Cole, that was a husband and wife team. And they had Jane Jensen, and I just absolutely loved Sierra games. I was such an adventure game nerd.
Love that.
And I would watch, they used to come in the big boxes, and they had all the little extras and the bonuses, and they had all the little making of videos. And I would watch those, and I'd just be like, I could do that. I could be that. And so it was really, really great for a while when I was a kid. And then as I got older and became a teenager, it was like, well, that's not a girl thing. Girls can't do that. And I'm like, oh, yes, they can, because this woman did.
Right.
And people are like, yeah, well, where's Sierra now? And things were kind of
evolving.
Evolving and changing. And so there weren't as many female role models. But I still like to play games, and I still like the idea of creating worlds and building things.
Exactly.
And so I wasn't going to let anybody stop me, and I didn't.
And obviously didn't. So that actually leads kind of into a great segue of what we were going to ask you is, how did you actually break into the industry? What's your story?
Yeah. Well, I took a very roundabout way. So I loved games as a kid. When I was about 8 years old, I begged my dad, please, you've got to teach me how to do this. I need to know how to make games. My dad was a chemist. My dad was not a computer programmer at all. But he's an awesome dad. So he learned BASIC and taught it to me so that I would know how to program, so I could write my very first game. It was a little limerick game. It would ask you a bunch of multiple choice questions, and then based on your answers, it would write a custom limerick just about you. So that was my very first game and my first foray. After that, I really did it more as like a hobby, and I was playing around with some people hacked the AGI interpreter, which is what Sierra used to make their really old games. And so people were able to kind of create their own Sierra-style adventure games.
How about that?
And I really got into that, and it was really neat. And I started doing the coding, but then I was like, but then there's graphics, and I want to learn how to do that. So I started playing with the art side of it, and I ended up being the moderator for a whole community of these people who were making these games, which was really, really cool.
That is fantastic.
And so I got more and more busy.
Secrets of Sierra.
Yeah, Secrets of Sierra. Well, yeah, except not really endorsed by Sierra.
Right. Well, okay, a little bit.
But yeah, well, we did actually hear from Al Lowe, and he was a very cool guy and was like, I think it's awesome. I think it's great that you're doing this. Have fun. So, we took that and ran with it. And we did. We had a lot of fun. We didn't sell any of the games. It was really just passion and nostalgia and having fun.
Exactly.
But I made some great friends some of whom I'm still in contact with.
Great.
And then after that, I was like, this is lovely and all, but this is technology from the 80s and early 90s, and now we're into the 2000s, and I'd really like to get more up to speed on what games are doing now. I want to make more, relevant stuff.
Right.
So I went to gamedev.net, and they had an IRC chat channel, and so I got in there and I started talking to a whole bunch of guys, and I was like the only girl.
Wow. Yeah.
And which meant I got a lot of attention, which was lovely.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of help because the guys were all very eager to help me out and to figure out how to code these really complicated systems and shaders and all kinds of stuff. And I realized very quickly I was in over my head. So I needed to go back to school. But going back to school takes a lot of money.
It does.
and it was
What's
hard.
That money? Like
money. So I did find the perfect school. I was like, I heard about SCAD, and I heard they had this great game dev program. And I thought, that's what I need to do. That would be perfect for me. I could really get the art side of it because I sort of have that technical background, but I've always been fascinated by the art. So I ended up auditioning for a scholarship. I was like, I don't really have much artistic talent yet, but I can sing. And in Savannah, they have a performance art major. So if I go to Savannah and I audition there, I can sing, and maybe I'll get the scholarship. And I did. So I like to joke that I went to school for a song.
I like it. That is a great tagline right there.
Yes. Go to school for a song if you can manage it. It's awesome. So I was able to go to SCAD. And while I was there, I had a really amazing professor, Tony Zhang, who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. But he was really tough on his students. He was really hard, but he would push you in all the right ways. And so he was the one who really pushed me to try out for the internship at Cartoon Network. He's like, no, you need to do this. You need to make this happen. You'll find the time. And I was like, Tony, I can't. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm swamped with all this stuff I'm doing. He's like, no, you're going to do it. And so I did. And it was great because I got that internship. And I ended up working 30 hours a week at Cartoon Network. And they actually made me their technical artist, which was really cool. And I loved it there. And then he had me doing another internship where I was working over at Georgia Tech with the Augmented Reality Lab. And that was really cool too, because it was just something completely different. So I had these very, very unique opportunities and met a lot of really cool people who I've been able to stay in touch with. And really in this industry, so much of it is just who you know. And so I'm very fortunate that I was kind of pushed towards those right people who really wanted to help me and wanted to see me succeed.
Right.
And so from that, I was able to go on and become a producer at Cartoon Network for about 3 years. And I love those guys. I mean, if you ever get a chance to meet anybody from Cartoon Network, they are amazing. I can't say enough good things about them. And I loved every moment of being there. I mean, it was a wonderful place to grow and to learn and to become a professional.
Right.
And to see, these really talented people and these really creative people and how they were able to make these games very quickly because they put out a lot of games. I mean, we were doing for a while a game every week. Exactly. And then luckily we kind of backed up to game every 2 weeks, but that's still a lot of games.
Right.
And so it was a really great opportunity for me to learn so much about games and about the types of games that worked well and the ones that didn't, and working with kids. And by that point I had my own children, so that was really cool because they thought I was the most awesome mom in the whole wide world.
Fantastic. Which we are, and we know you are. So
well,
there you go.
My 18-year-old still says so, and how many moms can say that?
I was going to say that is a feat in itself.
Yes, definitely. So eventually I did move on from Cartoon Network to spend a little more time with my youngest daughter. She had some medical issues. And so I've recently come back to work, and now I'm working at Ideas United, and I am just absolutely thrilled to be part of this project.
Fantastic. Well, you brought up some great points in, a lot of where you've broken in and actually made the name for who you are today. One of the, obviously our theme here at Siege is climbing your skill tree. And one of the things I know that you brought up and mentioned was really having a strong support network and mentors in your life. Are there any other skills out there that you can talk about for those that, are here at Siege for the first time, or, those out there that are watching this interview and are saying, I'm just really not sure how to get started. What do I need to do? What are some skills? It's kind of intimidating. Clearly it looks like these people have just gone from 0 to 500. What is that? What does that look like? What could you tell us?
Don't be afraid. Game developers really are just people. Even the most talented and amazing and awesome people are still just people, and a lot of them want to help you. I mean, believe it or not, they really are excited and eager to help new people come into the industry. And, that can't be said about every industry, but
Right.
ours is awesome because we really do have the community spirit and a desire to help and to share that information. And so don't be afraid to come up and talk to somebody. Go to the meetups, definitely, hang out, take advantage of the opportunities that you have coming to things like Siege. It's a great chance to meet some professionals and to learn some new things and to get excited. And then, don't be afraid to just jump in. There are so many resources available right now on the internet. Even if you don't go to school, even if you can't afford to go to SCAD,
right.
There are so many amazing resources, and you can be making games, and you can be forming teams with people and doing stuff, even, just as a hobby that maybe grows into a career.
Right, exactly. And we are getting close to the end. So want to ask you one thing that we've kind of been teasing out there is obviously as you're climbing your skill tree, a lot of us are, internal and have the inner superhero in all of us. So what do you feel is a superpower that is here in the industry? And obviously, what is the superpower you wish you could have to take the next level?
Right. A superpower in the industry, I think, is really just creative problem solving. I think we have an amazing ability in this industry to just make leaps of logic that other people wouldn't necessarily make. We get really creative with our thought processes. And so we're able to solve problems in a really unique and interesting way that you don't typically see in other industries.
I like that.
And then a superpower I wish I had. Oh, man.
It's always a hard one.
Yeah.
I know. It's like we pull the capes out, and what does it look like?
I've always wanted to fly.
Yes.
Does that count?
No, that totally counts.
I really would like to fly. I don't know how useful it would be to making games, but I would love to be able to fly.
But it would be super cool.
Yes. It would be awesome.
Well, Leigh Ann, before we take you completely out of our interview for the day, just one more time, can you give the folks online, obviously here at Siege, information about the contest one more time, just so they can take part?
So go to infinitedeviation.com. That's all one word, Infinite Deviation /games, and you will find all of the information, all of the details there. There's a big button that says submit your application now.
Fantastic.
Click on that. There's just a few forms to fill out. It should only take you about 10-15 minutes or so. You can submit more than one proposal if you'd like. Applications are open through Monday at midnight, so make sure
Monday is your deadline, everyone. Make sure you know that.
Make sure you get those in within the next few days. We're super excited, and 3 games are going to get funded, so I am really looking forward to working with some
yours.
It
you
could
watching
be.
out there, it could be yours.
It definitely could be. I mean, it's still wide open. We are still getting applications in every day. And I feel like we can still get some great ones in, so there's still time.
Fantastic. Leigh Ann, thank you so much for being here today. We really had fun talking with you.
Thank you for having me.
And I know I'm saying we have an entire stream team, in case you're wondering. I didn't just adapt new personalities. So we're going to take this out, and thank you again for joining us. Thank you all for watching on the Mixer.com GGDA channel and keeping us relevant, and keep watching. We're going to have more interviews, sessions, speakers coming your way. Thanks again.